In this video, we are going to make a wallet application using Python. So hey everyone, Mayank this side and welcome you all to Mayank Codes. And let's see how you are going to achieve this functionality using Python. The very first thing that comes into my mind when I talk about a wallet is it stores all the useful information like your name, your address, and your credit card details and a lot of other details that you want to store. Okay. So I want to create such wallet where a user can come, he can put his useful data, and whenever he wants to get access to that data, he will just write his username and password and can able to get access to that data. So I need to create something like where I will be storing the usernames, password, and so if the user comes to my application, if he writes the correct username and password, he will get access to his data. Okay, so here you can see a dummy.txt file that is having some data over here, and if I watch this file carefully, I'm able to see that this file contains username, password, and then at last a username.txt. So if the username is ram12 and the password is ram5668, I'm getting a txt file at last that is ram12.txt. Okay, so if the username is if the user is new and he comes to my application, he says I want to create an account, and I say okay, create your account. If he enters this username and this password, first I will check whether this username is already existing in my whole txt file or not. And if this username is not existing in my txt file, that means if this username is not taken by anyone else, then I will allow him to have this username along with the password he wants to. And so with this username, I'm going to create a txt file, and this txt file will be having all the useful information related to this particular user only, that is Mayank123. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to do. So let me just quickly create a file first. So file object is created like this, f equals to open and then information. And this information is basically going to be my base file that is going to have all the information about my clients, that is going to be my users. So it is going to have this usernames, password, and the txt file at last. Okay, so this file is going to be my base file, and I have to work on this file so many times. Whenever a new user comes, I want to add his data to this file. Okay, so I want to write in this file as well as I want to read this file so many times. So I'm going to just press write plus. So what this write plus is going to do, it is going to just write this file and can also read this file. So w plus is like you can read the file and write the file as well. Okay, so but there's one problem over here, and that is whenever a new user comes to this existing file, let's say this is my initial file and Yash is not a part of this file. So if I just remove Yash, and let's say Yash is a new user and he comes to this application, as soon as Yash comes over here, if this file is in a write mode, all the data that is above Yash will be deleted and only Yash will be there. Okay, so I can say somehow this file is overwritten. Okay, so all the existing data got deleted and now Yash and his data is only the data that is left inside this file. Okay, so that's not what I want. I want the earlier data to be stored as well. So for that, what I'm going to do is let me just quickly do this first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to just append something in this file. So instead of writing, I'm going to do append. So what append is going to do? Append is going to just append this years over here instead of deleting or overriding to this existing file. Okay, so appending is the approach what I'm going to take over here for now. And after this, I guess I'm ready. So now I will create a function over here. Let's say info. And this info will take an argument as a, and this a is going to be a file object. So let me just quickly create a info f. Okay, so now I'm passing f to this info function, and info is basically a function, and this function is going to do all the things what I want. Okay, so the first thing that I want to ask to the user is that what you want to do. You want to create an account or you want to sign in your existing account. So let me just say that z equals to input and wanna create account, press 1, to sign in, press 2. And after doing this thing, I am done. So I got this z now, so I will check whether this z is equals to 1 or 2. Okay, and we know how to do so. If z equals to 1, in this case user wants to create an account, but before that there is one error over here, and that error is this input is going to be in string format. So to convert this into an integer format, I will just typecast this thing, or I can say I will wrap this thing into integer. So now my input will be in the integer format. And so what if the user enters 1? In the case of 1, I can say that user wants to create an account. So if the user wants to create an account, I will ask him some information like enter your name and your age and some other things like this. Name, age, and I guess age is going to be in integer format as well. So I'm going to typecast this thing also in integer so that I won't get any error. So let me just write int before this input so that I can cover up this thing into integer type. Okay, and after that I'm going to add salary to this things, and salary is going to be an integer as well. So int, and now I'm going to ask for the salary. After asking for salary, we can ask for the credit card numbers and some other details if you want to. But I'm going to just ask for the credit card number, and let me just put input over here. We can also ask for the address if you want to, and so we are done. Okay, so after asking this many useful informations, you can ask a lot of other things if you want to, but for now I'm just asking this much only. Okay, so this is the data that is going to be stored in this username.txt file. Okay, so before that I want to ask him like what username you want. So I will just say that username equals to input. Okay, so after asking username, I'm going to ask for the password. And I'm going to take the password in the string format only. So now after doing this thing, before I do any other thing, before I write this all the data in this files, I have to check whether this username entered by the user is already existing to my database or not. And to do so, we can just create a list over here at the top, and this list is going to be ls. And this list is going to be a.readlines. So what this thing is going to do is, this a.readlines is going to pass a list of all the lines inside this txt file. Okay, so I will be getting a list in this ls list. This ls list will be a list having all the lines as the elements of this txt file. Okay, so this will look something like this, where I will be having all the lines like this and then like this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to get. So this is how the list is going to look like. Okay, so for now let me just get rid of this first. Okay, so that's what I'm going to get after doing this thing. Okay, so for now let me just come down and let me just say for I in ls, and what this line is going to do is, this line is going to traverse inside the list ls, and this I is going to be equals to the element of the ls. Okay, so at one iteration the value of I is going to be equals to this whole txt this whole line. Okay, so this line is nothing but a string. So to convert this string again into a list, because I want to get access to this data only, so what I want to do is I want to create one more list over here, that is lo, and this lo list is going to be equals to the list of I, because I is a string, and to convert I into a list I have to just write it like this. But see, I don't want to convert this whole line into a I can say a list. I want to just get some more elements. Okay, and to do so I will be just like splitting this string from the spaces. Okay, and to do so we have a function that is split. So we are going to split this line by the spaces, and as soon as I'm done with this thing, I have created a list having all these three elements. Okay, separated from each other's. Okay, so I'm getting this string converted into a list, and so I can get access to the usernames now. So what is going to be the username? Username is going to be equals to the lo of 0. As you can see, lo of 0 is going to be equals to this, and if I come over here, then it's going to be equals to the ram12 and so on. So what I want to do is I want to check whether this is equals to the username entered by the user. Okay, so let me just say that lo of 0 is equals to the username. And if it is so, then I will just print that username already taken. try again. And after writing this thing over here, I'm just going to ask for the username again. So after doing this all things, now I am ready to just take the new username, and I hope this username will be not inside this file, okay, inside this txt file, or you can say my database. So after doing this thing, I will just come over here and I will just say that now the username is correct. Now I got the password. So what I want to do is I want to just quickly write the details to my existing file, that is information.txt. Over here it is dummy.txt, but see over here I'm going to create information.txt, okay. So now I want to write my data to this information.txt, and you know that we are going to append up. So all the previous data is not going to delete now, okay. So I will just say that a.write equal, and we are going to write the username plus and space and then the password. And why we are putting the space between? Because you can see over here we have a space before the password and we have a space before the username, okay, username.txt, okay. So we are going to do the same thing over here, and then at last I'm going to add username.txt. But username.txt is not existing and we can't just write it like this. So what we are going to do is over here down, I'm going to create a random variable, let's say w equals to username plus I'm going to concatenate this username with .txt. So I will be getting a username.txt, and according to the username I will be getting a username.txt file, okay. So that's how I'm going to do, and I'm going to just add w at last. But if you look carefully, then you can see that if this is done, then what if the new user comes? If the new user comes, his username will be starting from here only. So if I don't put a slash n at the last, I will be getting something like this. So that's not what I want. So to just get rid of this, I want to put a slash n at last, okay. So now I'm done by writing my data to this information.txt file, but I also want to store this above data in this username.txt file over here. So this is my username.txt file and I want to store this all data to this, okay. And to do so, we know that we have to create a file object again for this new file, and so we are just going to do that. Okay, let me just get rid of this first. Okay. So now I'm going to create a username.txt, I can say a new file object, and let's say this is going to be x equals to open, and I'm going to open this username.txt which is equals to w. So I'm just going to say w, and then I'm going to just open this file in write mode because I just want to write the data. I don't want to read this data for now. And then a variable, let's say x.write. And now I want to add all the variables to this, let's say name plus slash n, then age plus slash n, then salary plus slash n, and I'm going to do this for all the data that I have took from the user. Okay, so after salary I'm credit card number, and at last I am having the address. So after doing this thing, I got all my data, but you can see there is one error over age and salary, and that is because you can't concatenate a integer with a string. As name is a string and age is in a type of integer, so to convert this into string, I have to just cover up this thing like this. Okay. So now I got my age into a integer form, into a string format as well, and same with this salary. Okay. So after doing this thing, I got everything correctly set up, and now I guess my data is stored. Okay. So after writing this code, the user will come. If he says one, I want to create an account, he will be getting this all things, and now I am done with this. So he got his process successfully. So at last I'm going to print that account created successfully. And so after doing this thing, now I'm ready. I have created a user's account over here, and let me just put this down, and I've created a user account. But what if user wants to get access to his data? Okay, so what if user press 2? In this case, I have to check that if z equals to 2, And so what I want to do is I want to just ask him for the username and password. So if z is equals to 2, just tell me your username first and then your password. And I'm going to store this both things in x and y variable. That depends on you what kind of a variable you are going to take. Okay, name of the variable. So now after doing this thing, I have to check whether the username is existing to my database or not and the password is correct or not. Okay, and to do so we have to just write for I in ls, and this is going to create a string of this whole list. Okay, I know you guys know this, that this is a list ls having all the lines as element, and so we can iterate through these lines using this list. Okay, so now before I just get access to this first data, I have to just write another list over here, that is LO list, and this LO list is going to be equals to the I, and this I is a string. As you guys know, this is going to be a string, and I'm going to split this string from the spaces and convert the string into a list. Okay, and this list will be named as LO. So I got the LO list having all the elements over here. Okay, separated by spaces. So I just want to get access to this first element only, that is the 0th index place, to just check whether this username is existing in my database or not. So to do so, I'm just going to say if x is equals to LO of 0, that means the username is existing in my database. And if the username is existing in my database, what I want to do is I want to check for the password, that if y is equals to LO of 1 and y 1, then you can clearly see that in this file we have the password at the index value 1. So I want to just check whether this password is correct or not, and to do so I'm just going to check for the password and the index value 1, okay, in my file. So after checking for this both things, I just want to show his data to him because he entered the username correctly and the password correctly. So what I want to do is I want to just say that w equals to LO of 2. And why I'm writing this thing, because I want to just get access to this file. So this file is basically at the index value 2. So I will just say that w is equals to LO of 2. So I will be getting the file name inside this w. So now I will just say that I will just say that x equals to, or let's say n equals to open. So I'm just opening this file, that is w, and I'm going to open this file in read mode because I want to read the data. Okay, and after that I'm going to just going to say that n.read. But this program will give me an error, and I know why, but let me just first check the error so that you guys can understand this thing in a more efficient way. And you can see that everything is perfect, and I'm done with this thing. So let me just put an else over here, and this else is like, this else is going to say like password not correct. So now after doing this thing, let me just try to run this code, but I want to put this code for a infinite loop. Okay, because just I want to do so, I'm going to do so. Okay, so let me just press a tab over here, and as soon as I press run, you can see down over here, let me just put this like this. Okay, so want to create an account or sign in. Okay, so I want to create an account first, so I will press 1, and so I'm going to just say my name, my age, my salary, let's say 20,000, and my credit card number, and my address is going to be Surat, and my username is going to be Mayank 1232, anything like this. Password is going to be 70. Okay, so now I want to check whether my data is stored or not. So I will just say Mayank 132 and Mayank 70. So you can see I'm getting my data all perfect and there is no error in this. Okay, so what I'm saying is that this code is absolutely perfect and there is no error, but you guys can see that I'm also as soon as I just stop this code and I see that over here, you can see that I'm getting a file as information.txt, and this file is having my data, and after that I'm having a Mayank 132.txt, and this file is also having all of my data. Okay, so I have the user's username and password and his you can say the txt file along with this data as well. Okay, so I got this thing, and now let me just add on multiple users and check on with these things as well. So let me just say 1. Okay, I have to run this code again. So let me just say 1. I want to just add one more user. Let's say Maya. Her age is 19 as well. She earns way more than me. And her credit card number is going to be random number, and her address is going to be Surat. And username is going to be Maya. Password is going to be Maya. And so, okay, let me just add one more user over here. Let's say Yash. Okay, age is going to be 19. Salary is going to be 20. And credit card number is going to be a random number. Address is going to be Surat. Username is going to be Yash. Password is going to be Yash. And so I got the 3 data. Okay, so I got my first 3 users. And now let's check whether a user comes and let's say he pressed 2. Now he wants to get access to his data, and let's say the user is Yash. Okay, so he enters his password correctly, enters his username correctly. So now you can see that Yash is getting access to his data. And let me just check whether this data is correct or not. Let me just stop this program and see. I got this 3 files over here, that is maya.txt and yash.txt. So this is having all the data related to Yash. This maya.txt is having all the data related to Maya, and similar with the Mayank 132.txt is having all the data related to Mayank. Okay, so that's how you work and you create your first own wallet using Python. So that's it. That's all about this video. If you guys like this video, then do subscribe to my channel, and you can also follow me on Instagram. That's all about this video. Thank you for watching this video.